The sun hung low over the cracked asphalt of the Bakersfield police station parking lot, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers across the ground. The air was thick with the scent of exhaust and hot rubber, mingled with the faint tang of coffee from the styrofoam cup clutched in the hands of the old man slumped against the station's outer wall. His name was Earl, though no one here knew it, and his tattered coat did little to shield him from the late afternoon chill that was starting to creep in. His gray beard was matted, his eyes watery but sharp, scanning the world with the wary caution of someone who'd seen too much of it go wrong. He held out a trembling hand, not expecting much, just hoping for a quarter or a kind word. Across the lot, a line of Harley Davidsons gleamed under the fading light, their chrome catching the sun like a warning. The bikes belonged to the Iron Vipers, a motorcycle club that had rolled into Bakersfield 3 days ago, their presence like a storm cloud over the small city. They weren't here for a rally or a ride through the Sierra Nevada foothills. They were here for business. Dark business that had the local cops on edge and the townsfolk whispering in diners and gas stations. The Vipers weren't the kind of men you crossed, not unless you had a death wish or a badge and a whole lot of backup. Leading the pack was Jax Reaper Callahan, a man whose name carried weight from San Diego to the Oregon border. At 42, he was a mountain of a man, 6'4" with a beard that could hide a switchblade and arms covered in ink that told stories of prison stints, bar fights, and deals gone bloody. His eyes, cold and gray as a winter sky, missed nothing. Today, they were fixed on the police station, though not with fear. Jax didn't do fear. He was here to send a message, and the 4 men at his back, all clad in black leather vests with the Viper's snarling serpent patch, were ready to make sure it was heard loud and clear. Inside the station, Officer Mike Harlan was having a bad day. At 35, he'd been on the force for a decade, long enough to know that when the Iron Vipers showed up, trouble wasn't far behind. He stood at the entrance, one hand resting on the wall, the other hovering near his holster. His uniform was crisp, his jaw tight, and his eyes were locked on the Vipers as they dismounted their bikes with the kind of deliberate slowness that screamed confidence. Mike had grown up in Bakersfield, knew every backroad and dive bar, and he'd seen what men like Jax could do. He wasn't about to let them waltz into his town and start trouble. "Afternoon, officers," Jax called out, his voice a low rumble that carried across the lot. He didn't stop walking, his boots crunching on the gravel as he led his men toward the station's front doors. The other Vipers followed, their faces hard, their hands loose but ready. "Just here to have a chat with your boss." Mike stepped forward, blocking the path to the entrance. "Sheriff's not in," he said, his voice steady but laced with steel. "And you're not walking in there without a damn good reason, Callahan." Jax stopped a few feet away, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Reason? Oh, I got plenty. How about we start with your boys shaking down my guys at the county line last night? Or maybe the fact that one of my prospects is sitting in your jail on some bullshit charge." Mike didn't flinch, though his pulse quickened. He'd heard about the arrest. A kid named Tommy, barely 20, caught with a baggie of meth and a pistol he swore wasn't his. The Vipers claimed it was a setup, and Mike wasn't naive enough to think the Bakersfield PD was above planting evidence when it suited them. But he also knew Tommy wasn't innocent, and neither was Jax. "You want to talk about your boy, you make an appointment," Mike said. "This ain't your clubhouse, and I ain't your prospect. Step back." The Vipers behind Jax shifted, their hands twitching toward the knives tucked in their belts. The air crackled with tension, the kind that could spark into violence with a single wrong word. Earl, still sitting against the wall, watched it all with the detached interest of a man who'd long ago stopped caring about outcomes. His hand dropped.